All right, for more on this, Joseph Kechichian is a senior fellow at the King Faisal Center, and he joins us live from Beirut. Good to have you on the program. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, let's go back to the events on the weekend. How calculated were the executions? I mean, didn't Saudi Arabia foresee that this would prompt a widespread protest in Iran and other countries, or what's your take on it?
Well, the trials that resulted in the verdicts that came down ended last November. Now, as far as the timing is concerned, why they occurred, when they occurred, and whether or not all 47 of the accused that were found guilty by the courts would be executed the same day is something that no one really can answer, simply because the judiciary has its own mechanisms in Saudi Arabia, and a decision was made to go ahead and do this the day when it was done a couple of days ago. Now, whether or not this was calculated, I don't know, but I'm sure that everyone gave a great deal of thought to the consequences that Iran and other Shias throughout the region would react very vociferously to it.
All right, let's talk about the repercussions. Iran and Saudi Arabia are two major powers in the region. How will this affect the balance of power?
Well, for the time being, I think that we're going to see a really cooling out period. There is a Cold War between these two countries. They don't get along. Differences are very profound. They go way beyond Sunni Shia, a struggle that is prevalent throughout the region, unfortunately. This is a political struggle for rulership over the Arab world more than anything else. And the argument that the Saudis have successfully presented in the eyes of their population and the rest of the Sunni world is that Iran is an outsider. It does not belong in the region. It is a non-Arab state that is putting its nose where it does not belong. The counter-argument being that Iranians feel that they have to provide assistance to their brethren, Shia brethren throughout the Muslim world, whether they are in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, even in Saudi Arabia. So therefore, the clash is really sectarian, very political. It is very ugly, but it has repercussions beyond the region as well, because this could escalate and bring in a lot of very ugly scenarios to mind.
One of the great differences is obviously the policies in Syria. How will this affect any possible peace process?
For the time being, I think both Syria and Lebanon are condemned to essentially continue to linger the way they have been. It is very difficult really to see some kind of a rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia over Syria, try to find whether or not the Vienna talks that are about to start a couple of weeks from now will in fact produce the kind of results that people were thinking about. If diplomatic relations are broken between two principal parties in the region, it's very hard to see how that could bring peace to a place like Syria, which needs it desperately. For the time being, I think we're going to see very little progress on that front.
All right, Joseph Kechichian, senior fellow at the King Faisal Center, joining us live from Beirut. We thank you for that analysis.